You play 162 for a reason. Sometimes stuff like that happens. Welcome in. The Braves dropped game 1 to the Seattle Mariners by a score of 5-4, a game where they had a 4-0 lead in the 6th inning, and that's when everything went wrong. So, the 6th inning starts with 3 solo home runs from the Atlanta Braves offense to make the score 4-0. Ozzie Albies gets us started, just an absolute tank off the bat into right field. Matt Olson follows another absolutely hard hit baseball, and that's his 300th of the season, or the season. That would be incredible, but 300th of his career. And you think the Braves are in good shape. They're well on their way to winning their 26th game of the season. And even Austin Riley follows it up, putting a ball as far into the stands at T-Mobile Park as I've seen one hit. Even though they said Matt's actually went further. So that's interesting. But you feel good. The Braves have a 4-0 lead. J.R Ritchie has looked really good. Ran into some trouble in the 5th, but he got out of it. So send the kid back out there. And that was when things started to go wrong for Atlanta. I don't disagree with the decision Walt Weiss made. I understand you want to probably protect your bullpen, especially getting Raisel Iglesias back tomorrow. You are going to be losing at least one length guy in the bullpen, so you want to just protect them, make sure that they are fresh for whenever you actually need them. And in a 4-run ball game, the way the Braves have played so far this year, you shouldn't need them in a 4-run ball game. And that was when everything changed. In the 6th inning, Ritchie walked Rosarena, walked Canzone, and then Tyler Kinley is warming up in the pen, but he wasn't warming up before the inning started, so you've got to give him a few batters to really get going. In that time, Luke Raley hits a home run, 105, and suddenly it's 4-3. So you got to get your stuff together really quickly. That is when Kinley comes in the ballgame, quickly strikes out Cole Young, but walks Mitch Garver. Rivas strikes out, and then to J.P. Crawford, a home run into right field. And the Mariners have a lead, despite really not having much of anything going this entire ball game. All of their runs coming in the 6th inning against, frankly, the Braves, one of their best relievers in Tyler Kinley. J.R. Ritchie, of course, gave up 3, but he had been pretty solid up to this point. If you discount if you take out the 2 walks he had in the 6th inning, up to this point, J.R. Ritchie's line was 3 hits given up, no earned runs, 4 walks. So the 4 walks is always going to be an indicator of okay, maybe he doesn't have his stuff tonight. But that last walk makes it 6 walks, and the 4th hit was a home run to Raley. Ritchie, ERA 3.63. I think he pitched admirably tonight. Pitched around trouble, had the bases loaded in the 5th. Most of his own doing. He had a hit by pitch and several walks to load the bases up, but was able to get out of it. And that's something I've praised about J.R. Ritchie so far, is he seems to be able to work around trouble, not really ever flustered. Hindsight is 2020. Maybe you don't send him out there for the 6th inning. You let Kinley just go out there and do his thing, and probably goes 1-2-3 with a quick inning. But hey, I'm not the Braves manager, and J.R. Ritchie looked good enough at that point to send back out there. So I'm not mad at the results. Or I'm mad at the results, but I'm not mad at the decision-making from Walt Weiss. You just have to have better execution out of one of your best relievers, but sometimes stuff happens. This is Major League Baseball, and baseball in general, sports in general. Sometimes you just get out-executed, and that's what happened to the Braves in the 6th tonight. Matt Olson is a future Hall of Famer. He has already hit 300 home runs in his career, and he's well on pace to reach 400, maybe even 500 bombs for the Braves as long as he can stay healthy. He plays every single game, and he is having a legitimate MVP type season for Atlanta at first base. So, not really too much you can say. Matt Olson, I just want to read off some of his career numbers because he is really, really underrated, I feel like, as a player, even, well, honestly, especially by the Atlanta Braves fan base, considering just he had to replace a fan favorite in Freddie Freeman. I understand not a good position for Matt Olson to be thrust into. If there was anyone that could replace Freddie Freeman, it's Matt Olson. The Braves did seem to get the upgrade in the deal. The deal was always Freddie Freeman's probably going to be better the first few years of this contract. Matt Olson, you're gambling on being better in the later half. And like I mentioned, he is having an absolute career year. And I mean, that's not even discounting 2023 where that was a career year for him. He is a really, really good baseball player, and that's putting it mildly. He is maybe not first ballot, but he is trending towards being a Hall of Fame caliber player. He probably needs about 100 more home runs to get there. But through 11 years, you just look, 300 homers. It's not actually updated on Baseball Reference yet. It still says 299. So at least 8. So we'll update it with tonight's stats. 299 homers, 840 runs batted in, 9 stolen bases. Got to get that up to 10 at some point. And almost 632 walks for him. So he's a lifetime batter, 258. But that's dragged down very heavily by some of his early years in Oakland. So, in just looking at Atlanta now, he played 6 years in Oakland. This is his 5th in Atlanta. So, he is trending towards being a Hall of Famer, and that will be a man that, as long as he stays with the Braves and continues this up, will probably wear a script A on his Hall of Fame bust. He is unbelievable. And he is the only man who could have followed in Freddie Freeman's footsteps and made Braves country accept him. He has been fantastic for Atlanta, and I don't think he gets enough credit from Atlanta's fan base or anyone. He's statistically the best defensive first baseman of all time, and he is just an absolute killer with the bat. He already has a 2.3 WAR, so he is already halfway to his 2024 WAR, and he's played 35 games. So that is incredible. And I am very, very excited to see if he could put together a full year at his current pace. Because if he can, he will walk out of the season with an MVP trophy and maybe an elusive World Series. So, very excited just to have Matt Olson on my team and get to watch him every single day with that tomahawk across his chest. So, that was your kind of shout out for Matt Olson. He is well on pace. If he plays, I mean, this is his 11th year. So, if you're saying he's halfway through his big league career, he'll eventually slow down, but 500 homers is not out of the question. And if you hit 500 homers, you will be a Hall of Famer. Them's the rules. So, and if he stays on his current pace, he could hit 400 as soon as 2028, barring no lockout next year. So, Matt Olson, Hall of Fame talent, and you get to see him in Atlanta every single day. And that's a blessing for us Braves fans. 4 solo shots for the Braves. Already mentioned Matt Olson and how far that home run went. Let's just look at it. They started it off with Drake Baldwin in the leadoff spot tonight in place of Ronald Acuna Jr., and they were talking to the broadcast, will he change up his approach at all? Not really. He's still hitting for power, and 108 off the bat, 426, and that would have been a home run. Which ballpark would that not have been a home run in? Hold up, that's interesting to me. It would have not been a home run at Coors Field. Okay, so Coors Field is the biggest ballpark, but you get helped out by altitude. So Drake Baldwin gets the scoring started early, and we sat 1-0 until the 6th inning when everything hit the fan for both teams. Like I mentioned, Olson hit one 428. Austin Riley 427. Good signs again for Austin Riley tonight. And just looking at his line, 2 hits, 1 RBI, that's his own run that he batted himself in. But this is the second or third game in a row that he started to turn things around. Second homer of the road trip so far. He did take a ball right off of his throwing hand, off the thumb, and then his chest. So hopefully he's okay. He waved off Mateo and the trainer, but that was about 109 miles an hour. Just a terrible hop and hit him right in the throwing hand and then the chest, and it definitely hurt. He did a big spin in the air, and I believe that was off of Julio Rodriguez's bat. So hopefully Riley, as he's starting it around, doesn't have to take a day off, but it seems like he might be finding something with his approach. So hopefully that this is something the Braves can work on and expand upon in the future. And the 4th home run, actually the second one in terms of chronological order, Ozzie Albies absolutely smashed. Only would have been gone in 25 ballparks. Wouldn't have made it out in Fenway, Chase, Coors, Comerica, or Dawkins. But absolutely crushed. Ozzie Albies is having a really good resurgence year for the Braves. And while his savant says, hey, maybe this isn't all that sustainable, the biggest thing I care about is he is squaring the ball up. He is in the 80th percentile in terms of squaring the ball up, and he's not striking out at the rate he has done in his major league career. So Ozzie, always been a guy that the advanced analytics have said shouldn't even grace a ball field. But he has been an all-star multiple times in his career. He's a World Series champion, and he is back to producing like he's in his prime. So one of the best batters in baseball for his position. So great turnaround year for Ozzie Albies. Hopefully it is very sustainable. J.R. Ritchie, like I mentioned before, the line doesn't read how he pitched tonight. So 5+ innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 walks. That's really what the number that you have to focus on changing. But it felt like 5 of those were right at the end. So with a little bit of better managerial thing, and always hindsight's 2020, I would have sent Ritchie back out there. So I definitely understand why he was done that, but I don't think he should have been allowed to face Rayleigh, considering that he was wild, just barely managed to get out of the 5th, and then walks the first 2 batters he sees in the 6th. Kinley should have been ready to go, wasn't ready to go, so you give up the homer to Rayleigh, and that ends your night. However, J.R. Ritchie, I thought, pitched admirably, considering that this was his 3rd career start, and it's in his hometown. So I think the kid deserved a win, and I wish the Braves bullpen would have been able to preserve it for him. Obviously, giving up 3 runs himself in the final inning he pitched didn't help his case, but I'm very, very proud of what J.R. Ritchie went out there and did, and I think he just continues to stick around. You have to learn to take your lumps at the big league level. That is what Ritchie's doing right now, and I think you might want to have a little bit of a shorter leash on him in the future. But he showed he got out of trouble in the 5th inning fine. So I understand completely sending him back out for the 6th. Not mad at that at all. Really not mad at Walt Weiss in general for how he handled tonight. You just need better execution from J.R. Ritchie, but more importantly, Tyler Kinley. Kinley's been one of your best relievers. You have to go and get outs against this Mariners lineup that has not been hitting very well. Can't give up 2 home runs in the same inning from your pitching staff. Outside of that, Bummer gave up several base runners. He loaded them up but managed to get out of it himself. And then Carlos Carrasco, probably his last day on the roster, gave you 4 outs and 1 hit given up there, 1 strikeout for his work there. Just not a lot of strikeouts tonight for the Braves pitching staff, so maybe that's something they can improve on, but they seem to be in a good spot. Just a bad night overall for the bullpen. But Atlanta, they're still 25 and 11 on the season. That is, they have a really commanding lead in the NL East, and this is the really tough part of their schedule. You go to Seattle, you go to the Dodgers, and then Chicago. The Cubs come to town. So you knew that these 3 series at the beginning of the year would be one of your most difficult stretches. The Braves have bought themselves the opportunity. If they do happen to lose a few of these series, it's not a huge deal. But I think everyone around Braves country and national media are looking to see if this team is actually legit or if the Braves will give them a reason to not believe because of how the last 2 years have gone. And they will inevitably judge them against how they play against the Los Angeles Dodgers starting Friday night and the Chicago Cubs when they come home to Atlanta. Those 2 series matter more in the eyes of the national media than the entire 7 weeks of baseball we've played up to this point. So the Braves definitely need to buckle down, and they've shown time and time again. They have a tough loss, they come out and they absolutely rebound and just blow a team out of their own ballpark. So we'll see what the Braves do tomorrow, and I know they will send out to the mound in Seattle Mr. Bryce Elder. 3-1, the big right-hander from Texas. 1.88 ERA, 36 strikeouts on the season. And opposing him from Seattle, George Kirby with a 4-2 record, 3 ERA, 34 strikeouts. His last time out for the Mariners was a really good start for him last time out. 5 2/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. So did not take home either the win or the loss, but is able to give some length for the Mariners. 5 2/3, 6 innings, and then 5 2/3, and right around 2 earned runs, 1 earned run, 2 earned runs for George Kirby. You kind of know what you're getting. Low-ish strikeout numbers for about 6 innings, but he is going to keep the ball on the ground, and he is going to do a good job at keeping runners from crossing home plate. So Bryce Elder will need to be on his A game if the Braves are going to win against the Mariners on Tuesday. Days mixed up. It's late. So, all right. Well, if you made it this far into the video and you love the Atlanta Braves, well, this is the place for you because I make daily content about Atlanta. I have a podcast I do on, well, it's supposed to be scheduled, but it's not really been so far this season. But I make a lot of content. It's pretty casual, kind of like this. So if you enjoyed this video, you will enjoy the rest of my channel. So I would welcome you, please, to like and subscribe. It helps me out more than you know, being a small channel. So, but until tomorrow, peace out and keep chopping, everybody.